And let's do this. Let's go live. And hey, what's up? It's Jim, and this is Movie Crap Live. I see that Sinram is here. Nathaniel Foga. Can we hear me? Sounds like I can. And I'm a little early, but that's okay. It's cool to be early sometimes, isn't it? How's everyone going? Sinram, Nathaniel Foga, Jordan Salaflo, Cornbread, Sleepy Four Cat, Frank Clark, Loxy Oxenwinkle, Bruce Parker, Twisted, Razor, Sunspot Nell. Everybody, how is it going? Like a minute early. That's cool. Hey, Elwood DD. Oh, Paleo is here. Major Mekazawa, Frank Clark, Jacob Shelter, Zodberg, Major Mekazawa. I hope I say everyone. If I miss anyone, I apologize. But yeah, I hope everyone's having a good Saturday. It's time to do some movie news. There's not a ton, but there's stuff. Hey, Rocket Lowbacks. The Rocket Lowback. Lombacks, I think. Finally got up. Oh, good. I'm glad, Riza Lolita, I think that's how you say his name. Live in New York. It's Movie Crap Live. Why didn't I say that? I should say that. TuneJ723, Daniel Foga, Austin, Zane Powers, wherever you are. All right. If I didn't already say hello. Oh, time to skip WandaVision and instead review the real show of the season, The Crew. Sorry, Kevin James, now on Netflix. All right, Blacksy. Now I will go. Let's do the fade here. How's it going, everybody? What's up? Good to see you. Good to be here. Let's do the inaugural super chat, which I just read, but Black Sax asked me, time to skip WandaVision and instead review the real show of the season, The Crew, starring Kevin James, streaming on Netflix. Cheers you. I haven't watched any of The Crew. Maybe when that week WandaVision's off, and do we have a week or 2 weeks between WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier? Do we? Anyway, cheers to you, Bloxy. But who cares about anything? Because Muppet Show is on Disney Plus. Hallelujah. That took way too long for that to be available for most of us. I think that I'm so glad that finally happened. Oh, Bruce Parker's bringing up that J-Law is rumored to be Sue Storm. Kyle Buchanan came out on Twitter and basically said that film is not in production or casting at all. And if anyone would know, he would know. So the Sue Storm J-Law rumors are incorrect. Evening, Jim. Doing all right? Thank you, Zara Quinn, I think. Thank you very much. I'm doing all right. Cheers to you. Thank you very much for the super chat. Same Powers, you better do your part to bring them up at Uprising. Cheers to you. And Ryan's right. It's been good. I got to show my daughter, or Sophie, The Muppet Show. We watched some weird ones. I don't know if we started out right. We watched the Rita Moreno one, which was still really good, and the Liberace one. And today on my way to work, I watched Saber Did What Now? Don't tell Ryan that. Someone delete that before Ryan can see it. I don't want him to see that. Please don't let him see that. Everyone he doesn't need to know that. I don't want to. He's going to get upset. And I watched the Star Wars one today on my way to work, and that one was a lot of fun. I have good memories of that when I was a kid, and it's still fun. The Muppet Show is fun. Every episode is fun. I like how weird and interesting it. Coward. Thanks, Ryan. All right, 2J723. Sorry, 2J. I wasn't. Instead of taking a sip of that Red Bull, how about a sip of some Wilkins coffee? Ooh. If I could have gotten Wilkins, how would I prove I have Wilkins coffee? You're tempting me. This is the angry side of Ryan. I like this. Cheers to you, said GG73. But yeah, that show is great. I think we're gonna make a thing of watching them. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But I do think it's interesting with the Muppet Show. I wish there was, and maybe actually I was gonna ask Ryan this and I never got to. What is the best episode to start with? Because even though Rita Moreno is a great actress and a great presence, what is there? Should they have had an episode where it's like start here? I am going to talk about curation on streaming a little later, but I was thinking that I was like, I wish they'd guide you a little more. But the later season, just look around because you can find some cool people. The Star Wars episodes, I actually think is a good intro. If you've never watched it before, like watch like find a celebrity you like. That's what I would say, or sliced alone. So, like Sudworks, they were supposed to have Muppets on D Plus months ago, but they sent Rizzo to deliver the tapes, and he ended up kidnapped, and then meeting a colorful crew of friends, and then an elaborate song. You know what? I wish that would be funny, but it is great to have them all. I know there are a few that aren't on there. There's some speculation what the deal with the Brooke Shields thing was. I don't know. Defunctland was right. It's people are saying the copyright thing's phony. If I were to guess, and here's my guess, is there's been a long time coming that someone needs to reevaluate some things with Brooke Shields in the 70s, and I think Disney rightfully thought that might be coming soon, and we would not like our Muppet Show to be associated with that. Not that they did anything wrong, but I've always heard people are gonna make a podcast about that, so they might have just been like, let's just not do that. Let's be careful. Just look up Brooke Shields' jeans ad in the 70s. You don't know what I'm talking about. Nathaniel Foga said, I drank Red Bull today so I could win a PS5. Did you win a PS5? I hope you won a PS5. Nathaniel Foga deserves a PS5. If PS5 asks me, I will tell them that. Cheers to you, Nathaniel Foga. Okay. Ryan believes me about my Brooke Shields thing. Okay, I feel good now. Not that anyway. I didn't realize the Linda Carter. Maybe we'll do the Linda Carter. Oh man, there's so many I'm gonna watch. I'm very excited. And we got the Tom and Jerry things. I am gonna review those later in the show. But I wanted to say this about them. This is like, I guess, an exclusive. I actually do know someone who storyboarded the second episode or the second cartoon. And on his post, he's been saying there were a few of them that they sort of made it on a break of making all the Looney Tunes. I want to say I'll probably be repeating myself later in the show. But famously, Chuck Jones went over to make Tom and Jerry cartoons, and they stunk. Like, nobody really likes them that much. They're just not that great. And which is kind of surprising, because when you hear Tom and Jerry made by Chuck Jones, you're really excited, and it just doesn't really work. And it's amazing to me that these guys did something Chuck Jones couldn't do, which I really do mean as a compliment. They did an amazing job. But yeah, I've noticed on him and several other people I am friends with on various social media sites have all mentioned, oh, we never knew when they was going to come out. And they say a few, but they don't say two, which I'm going to guess means we're getting more, but they don't flat out say that. But in my mind, a few means more than two, right? Doesn't it? Let's just say that. Anyway, just like Drew Barry, where's Mom? What? Javier Portello says, what are your thoughts on Supergirl being in the Flashpoint movie? Oh, that sounds cool. I wasn't going to talk about that, but cheers to you. Thank you for asking me. I think that makes sense. It sounds like they want to introduce big screen versions of the Arrowverse to the big screen. They want to have big screen versions of all the Arrowverse TV people. Like, I feel like the movie verse is different than the TV verse. So that makes sense they want to do it. But cheers to you, Javier. And Sinram, friendly neighborhood Sinram, said nothing comes between me and my gym's live stream. Thank you, Sinram. Glad you're here. Cheers to you. A couple equals two, few more than two. I like that's what I thought. Okay, Frank Clark, I agree with that about the thing. Westerner said, been watching it for the first time, just finished the Star Wars one, and I was floored when they all sang When You Wish Upon a Star. Yeah, that is crazy. When they wish upon a star, someone saw the future. Also, John Denver is my favorite one. I've always heard good things about the John Denver Muppet stuff. I've never got as into it. And it was like pushed on me a lot because my parents watched it. So, hold on. But Westerner, thank you for being so generous. Cheers to you. Thank you. Or the Westinator. I'm sorry. Thank you for your generosity and cheers to you. This stream's just becoming Jim drinking Red Bulls and talking weird stuff, which I guess is all of them. Ryan says, "Good grief, the comedian's a bear." and cheers to you. And Black Saxical said, "Will Paul Blart be in Flashpoint?" I hope so. Is that a different studio? I don't know. Cheers to you. So before we get before we get to the real show, sorry there was kind of a break in content this week. This week was long and hard and all that stuff. I'm fine, but that's why No Neck Joe segment didn't become a video this week. I'm not sure when that's going to come out at this point, but it will at some point. If you saw the Willy's Wonderland tweet came out, it was not supposed to. I thought I timed it correctly. I'm going to say it was most likely my fault. But when you see that go up tomorrow, just like it again, I guess. Anyway, sorry. I try not to let that happen, and it did. How many little cowboy hats will be in the Snyder Cut? Not enough. Oh, man. I feel like I should talk about the Snyder Cut first. I feel like that's the vibe I'm getting. But anyway, yeah, I think I will. But hey, Marley, how's it going? Okay, this is going to be interesting. Oh, and the other thing was, the last segment of this one is the Gorillaz Space Monkeys. I know that got pushed. That was supposed to be on a previous one. It didn't happen. If it does not happen this time, I'm just going to shoot that separately later and put that out as a segment at some point and be done with it. So if it doesn't happen tonight, it's just going to be shot and you'll see it eventually. But they are basically the remix band of the Gorillaz. They're like a side band of the Gorillaz. It's sort of interesting. But anyway, I think, yeah, should I talk about someone could the chat tell me while I do the Discord Patreon thing? Let me know if you want me to talk about the Snyder Cut first. Otherwise, I'll be talking about Mortal Kombat. So it's up to you guys. You can vote on it, I guess. Let's do that. I've never do that. Let's do that. You let me know. Anyway. My Godzilla. This is a blank Godzilla card. These are other Godzilla cards. All right. So, sorry. This and everything I do is actually supported by you, the fans, either through super chats during the show, and I take a chug of Red Bull and laugh and all those things, or through my Patreon, which is linked below in the description. Your support helps me do everything from get a new computer to update things, to help this channel keep going, to, doing all sorts of awesome things with this channel that I wasn't previously able to do. So you very much keep the lights on and keep things going. And I very much appreciate it if you're financially able to do so. If you are not, if you can't do it, just watching or liking always helps. Or if you're not subscribed. Sometimes I've been doing the instant premiere thing, not every video, but certain ones. So if you just want to hang out and the people who are in this chat suddenly, you can. But any sort of support, or if you're just watching anytime you want, that's cool too. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. I know times are tough and times are weird right now. But thank you very much just for being here. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone who can contribute. The Patreon also has things like postcards, Skype calls, the commentary series where I'm wrapping up commentaries for all of Cletus the Fetus and doing commentaries on Knock Force and early YouTube videos and all sorts of projects I've worked on. So if you want to hear me do those things, check that out. But anyway, thank you very much for all of your support. I really appreciate it. I will get to those super chats. Let me do these 2 super chats and then I'll do Discord. Sorry. What is the total? I probably should have. Javier Portello said, is Paul Blart in Wandavision? Oh my God. I wish Kevin James was in Wandavision. I would really like that. Cheers to you. And Zane Power says more like Snyder Cut. More like Snyder Cut. Is that better? Anyway, cheers to you, Zane Powers. What was it more? Anyway, also, you the illest. Thank you, Male Tears. You are the illest as well? Yeah, that's the most dad thing I could have ever said. Cheers to you, Male Tears. And how much do we got to pay for a Paul Blart review? Let's just say that might be happening soon. Cheers to you, Black Sea. We'll see. Maybe Friday. Hey, Catbot. All right, so if you enjoy everyone who's in the chat and having a good time, and you like more updates about me and everything like that, you should check out the Discord, which is run very amazingly well by Zane Powers in Austin. It is has all sorts of great communities, including Ask Jim, where you can ask me questions, where I try to get to everyone at certain points. Suggestions for Jim, you can actually suggest things you want me to review on the channel or just know about or review on the show. You can submit news questions, you can interact with me, but you can also interact with everyone in the chat who hangs out here and is a regular viewer and stuff. So if you were like, hey, I wish I knew more people who like this content and were kind of like this and stuff, then that's a good place to go. And the general chat, where I actually try to ask, like, hey, what would you like me to cover on Movie Crap tonight, earlier on Saturday, and I post the shorts that are going to be on there earlier than I do on Twitter. So there's some cool perks to it, and it's like a good community. I really enjoy it, and Zane Powers in Austin do an awesome job. So that is in the description below. Zarquan asks, favorite Dexter's Lab episode? I always love the gym on the bus one, lol. Man, I've been wanting to rewatch that, Zarquan. I would say either that one. When I was a kid, I liked the monkey superhero a lot. I also like when they were in mechs a lot. I probably like Rude Removal a lot at the time. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the I like the monkey in that Avengers parody. All that I loved. The first one, oh my god. I watched the first one. I had Cartoon Network. I started getting Cartoon Network right as What a Cartoon played the first Dexter's Lab short, and I watched that to death. So that would probably be my favorite one, to be honest with you, because I've seen that the most times. But cheers to you. Thank you for the super chat. Okay. I hope I've gotten everyone. Oh yes, Austin, thank you very much. I saw you watch the Powerpuff Girls movie. I actually posted how did the Powerpuff Girls movie bomb as my throwback video of the week recently, and I thought that was a nice bit of synergy. That was Austin's I guess you picked it, but anyway, that was cool. I hope you guys had a good time watching it. They also have movie watch-alongs on Discord as well on Friday nights, so if you are looking for something to do, you can hang out with those guys. All right. Where are we at? Okay. This is already a wacky show. Did we decide? I didn't actually. Did anyone count the votes? You know what? The Snyder Cut thing's quick. Let's just. Is that cool? Is everyone going to be mad? Are the Mortal Kombat's literally directly after. So, the Snyder Cut. What happened? So, supposedly they did spend $70 million. What happened with... Hey, William Ellman, how's it going? What happened with those $70 million? Exactly, and Deborah Snyder said so on a recent podcast. I did not, full disclosure, I did not listen to this podcast. I just heard other people sum it up for me. So if someone has actually listened to that and wants to dispute these, go ahead, because you did more research. But basically, the only real shot new footage was the stuff with Jared Leto's Joker. How much there is seems to be a debate. Doesn't seem like they spent a lot of time, but a lot of it, this is real. I want to specify, this is real, was spent on putting the original designs of the costumes back on the characters as Zack Snyder wanted them, because they digitally changed them. A lot of it was like little minor things which is, by the way, how most of CG things happen in movies, and that's what happened with the Snyder Cut. But yes, that society line was one of the things they spent $70 million on. I don't know if they really did that. This whole Snyder Cut thing is so ridiculous. But yes, the society line, which I'm just confused, where did the society thing come from? Like, I definitely have seen the movies that the society thing came from, but like, I also saw them and didn't care afterwards to remember them, because they weren't that good. So like, I don't even, can someone make a video explaining to me the history of what is society? I would just like people to make videos on things that I want answers to, that I don't actually feel like making. And that would be one. And I'll watch it once and maybe like it. I might subscribe. I don't know. But anyway, is it from Joker? I don't even remember. But yeah, so they've spent $70 million on basically like fixing up and making things more Zack Snyder-y. Yeah, but yeah, they changed the aspect ratio. It seems like they did really minory things to it, but yes, they did like apparently a lot of it was on superhero costumes. So we're gonna talk about the two big trailers this week, and the first I gotta lead with a fucking blood knife or ice knife, blood ice knife. Anyway, the Mortal Kombat trailer, which I don't think anyone expected that thing to slap so hard. That thing slapped so hard. I think I'm in next week, and it was just way cooler than I ever imagined that thing would be. I'm seeing the sub. I didn't really like Sub Zero. Seems to be a big part. Is Sub Zero way bigger than he was? Because in my day, in the '90s, it was Scorpion and upsetting your parents. And since I can't, I can't upset my parents. Once you have kids, parents are just like totally happy. It's like whatever. It's not as much fun. But but like since that's gone, I found that interesting how Sub Zero heavy it was. But Man of Steel ripped off the Powerpuff Girls movie. I don't know if that's true, but I'll cheers to you anyway, Austin. Cheers to you. But yeah, it reminded me of the game actually a lot. It reminded me of like it felt like a cool tournament thing. Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and what about the Snyder Cut having few jokes? I guess they CG'd out more of the jokes. Any of the jokes are CG'd out. So cheers to you, Zane Powers. I knew Paley was bringing up the Scorpion Sub-Zero thing. I knew the Scorpion Sub-Zero thing has always been a thing forever and ever. But the fights just looked really cool, but it did feel like a tournament movie. Much like Enter the Dragon, they're all trying to be Enter the Dragon. Seriously, Enter the Dragon has such a large influence hold on Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And this feels like it's trying to do that in a more modern way. I've heard a lot of people say, why couldn't Gareth Evans make one of these? I'm sure it was offered to him. He seems to not. Evans or is Edwards? Edwards is the Godzilla guy. Evans is the Raid guy. That's confusing. Too many Gareths. Too many white Gareths in this world. That should... No one repeat that. I liked it. It felt very actiony. It surprised me. And I think that's one of the things why it got embraced, because I knew a lot of people who knew a trailer was coming and didn't give a shit. And suddenly they did. And that's a good movie trailer. It is sad. This would have been awesome to see on the big screen, particularly in Brooklyn, particularly the theaters I go to, where people are going to yell at the screen and be like, yeah, that's right. And like all that shit. That I'm going to miss. Almost more so than Godzilla vs. King Kong, but this was a good trailer. I'm excited for this from a first-time director. I am a little worried. I might review the original Mortal Kombat and talk about my whole history with that whole thing where my parents wouldn't let me see it, actually, which is the whole thing. Cornbread actually contributed to this episode and tweeted me this, and I didn't know this actually, but it makes like, because I played like Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. Did they make more of them? Probably. Not an expert in video games at all, clearly. But Cornbread said also something I like to bring up in the Mortal Kombat trailer. The iconic "Get Over Here," which I know that line, is the first one in the series 29-30 this October year run where it's not performed by series co-creator Ed Boon. His speaking voice was changed a lot, though. Oh, that's kind of sad. I think they should have just done that, but that's interesting that was changed. Thank you, Cornbread, for that fact. Ryan Walters says, what do you get when you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash? I'll tell you what you get. You get a car. Everyone gets a car. Everybody gets a car. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for the generous super chat. And cheers to you. We have already killed a Red Bull. This is a crazy show. Speaking of living in a society, that's such a bad line. That's like, I'm at a grocery store. Make that edgy. Like, I'm brushing my teeth. Like, that's an obvious, like, I walk places. Like, it was yellow. The yellow makes me, it's been a long day. Anyway, so speaking of living in a society, someone lives in a puppy society, Doggyville. Anyway, the Cruella trailer came out this week, starring Emma Stone, it's very much doing the Joker thing, or at least in the trailer. I don't know if the movie is trying to emulate that at all, but from this trailer, they're very much going for that vibe. I'm just going to be real frank. I do not like any of the Disney remakes that isn't Pete's Dragon, and they're all terrible and awful, and I don't understand the use of them at all. Like, I don't like them. I don't understand the point of them. I sort of get this because the idea of it, the concept, because at least you're like, oh, well, this is this person's take on this character. And I'm like, okay, so like Angelina Jolie did Maleficent, Emma Stone does Cruella, but didn't Glenn Close. Like, I'm sorry, Emma Stone, but you are not Glenn Close. Like, that's just not to be like put people against each other, but I think Emma Stone would agree with me. Glenn Close is better. But I don't know. Part of me is cool with the editing of it and the stuff like that and the hair and stuff, but the punk element annoys me because at best she's a poser, and because it's punk, get it? Disney's the type at making their own Wicked. Number 4, Zane Powers. Yeah, a little bit, but cheers to you. I don't know. I sort of like, I do think this trailer came off way better than most of them, where I'm like, I hate these kind of movies, but I'm sort of a little interested. I have my own take on it, and I think I've said it on Twitter, but since it's my show and stuff, I guess I'll say it again, is what I think they should do is Cruella is best friends with her friend, the wife or woman that Roger falls in love with. I really should know her name. And like they're friends and they do all these crimes together, and then she like hooks up with Roger and they get married, and then she always thinks Cruella's line, and Perdita will be doing crimes with them, like that'll be cool, and she thinks the line will be that she would never fuck over, Cruella would never fuck her over, and then Cruella does, and it's like this like female friendship destruction movie basically, and how Cruella, like this friendship meant so much to her, but her own evil ambitions and crazy ideas is what is her ultimate downfall. Anyway, they didn't approve my script, but that's what I would have done with it. Is like have it connect in a way that's like actually organic and interesting. I do feel like they're going to make it like she's not actually that evil, but from this it looks like they is. If they actually did make her actually evil, but I don't understand the punk thing about it, like why London in the 60s is pretty interesting, to be honest with you. I just think why not do that? Like swinging London is like, people don't shut up about that shit. Like I just don't understand. Like once you have swinging London, like why are you, I don't know. Do you think modern audiences really want like the English trash strike in there? Is that, maybe that's what audiences want? Maybe there's a thing about that. I don't know. But anyway, I just think it's going to be like most of the Disney remakes, and it will be not great unless it's Pete's Dragon, which is a wonderful movie, I have to say. And I didn't see Lady and the Tramp, I didn't see Mulan, and I never will, because I have a line. There's a line, and Jim has better things to do with his life. All right, moving on. The Train to Busan. Speaking of great ideas, they decided, hey, let's make a movie in America of Train to Busan. But hey, oh, you want to be on already? Come on. How are you feeling? Are you feeling better from last week? Huh? Is that it? You just wanted to come up for a bit? Okay. You okay? All right. That's my buddy. A little bit. Nat in Box 64. Are you familiar with Fiona Apple? I believe very much I'm familiar with Fiona Apple. I think I talked about her in an act version. I like Title, and the second one. After that, it gets a little hazy, but I do like her. I need to listen to that Bolt Cutters thing, to be honest with you. But cheers to you. Hold on, sorry. It moved past me. That's Buster Kitten. Nat in Box 64. Cheers to you. Who is feeling a little better, I think, after last week? If you were here at the beginning, you know what I'm talking. I'm really over America remaking foreign films. Bro, I've been over that since probably before, I don't know, since forever. Cheers to you. Yeah, so apparently they are remaking Train to Busan, because of its popularity. Tomino, I'm not going to be able to say this, but I will put it in the chat. I very much apologize. I should have actually looked that up. So that is definitely on me, and that's not cool of me. So I apologize to this director who is the currently one who's involved. Jeez, Ryan. Okay, I'll read this one and then I'll continue. Fun fact, there was a brief period where John Hughes had a production company in collaboration with Disney in which he wrote 2 remakes, 101 Dalmatians and Flubber. Explains those movies slapstick, especially because he was so hot at the time. I understand why Disney would have done that. That's interesting. Thank you very much. Cheers to you, Ryan. Will the Train to Busan remake be better than the Old Boy remake? Whoa, that's a devil's deal if I ever heard one. Thank you, Ryan. I forgot he did Flubber. Wow. Anyway, that's an interesting one. And thank you for the generosity, Ryan. But yes, Train to Busan they're doing a US remake. I don't think this would work because America doesn't have a high speed train. I don't know how you would do a train thing in America, like maybe on the subway, but I just don't think it would work. I feel like, to me, it's like, just rip off the idea and don't make it a remake, because there's no way, like, America and trains does not work the same way it did in Train to Busan. So it's just like, sort of like, just rip it off and don't make it a remake. So people are like, is this a remake? They'll be like, no, not at all. It's just like the connection. I don't understand. I don't think the IP really works. And they made a bunch of them. To me, it's like, why not have it be in the same universe? Because they made an animated one, they could make an American one. Why not just tie it in? You know what I mean? I just think that would make sense. Anyway. And now, before we get to the Cartoon Network of it all, Edgar Wright, it was announced yesterday, actually, is going to be directing a new version of Stephen King's The Running Man, produced by Simon Kinberg and his usual producer, Nira Park. My thing with Edgar Wright is my same thing with Quentin Tarantino. I don't believe shit until it actually starts casting and shoots and looks like it is going to happen. However, I will say almost everyone said this is a big priority for Paramount. It should be. Paramount doesn't really have anything right now, and they need something, and Stephen King things are hot. Edgar Wright is still hot after Baby Driver, and studios very much want to work with him. He had an original movie make $100 million. That's not something a studio is going to, like, roll their eyes at. And he's still a major director with a following. I don't know what's happening with Last Night in Soho, but they do, after Baby Driver, whatever you thought of that movie, doesn't matter financially. He has the thing behind him. He's had a lot of high-profile things, like I think he was doing a Cole Jackman Night Stalker movie with Johnny Depp or something. He's had a bunch of big things that were, like, pretty prominent that didn't work out. So, to me, I sort of am 50-50 on this, because my person who reads movie news all the time thing makes me go, oh, this does sound like it's his next thing. The other part of me thinks I'm used to this news with Edgar Wright, and we'll see. But it does sound like maybe he's trying to do that, and he found a Stephen King adaptation, and I hope he has a big hit with it. So good luck to him if it happens. So before we get into the HBO Max Cartoon Network announcement, I'll just talk about the thing you want me to talk about first, and that's Infinity Train Book 4. It was announced that the new season of Infinity Train, Book 4, it was renewed for another season, and Book 4 is happening. It seems like they announced it cleverly right as the preschool stuff happened to sort of minimize. I don't think they care that much about the cartoon community. Depends on who you ask over there, because I know a lot of them do watch a lot of that stuff. But if I were going to press release a way to not have people talk about my preschool stuff, I would have done that as well. So I've not heard anything. I'm just saying, when I saw it happen, I was like, that was smooth, guys. But yes, it has been renewed for another season. There seems to be some confusion on television renewals. I saw from people on Twitter and YouTube and so forth. To completely explain this, shows are not really given more than a season renewal at a time unless their major priorities are uber successful. And although it seems like they do like Infinity Train, they were never going to be like, give it 4 seasons. That's like Big Bang Theory kind of stuff. Like that, like straight up never happened. So it's sort of a normal thing. It's really cool that it happened. Just be happy about that. It sounds like the show's still going, but understand like what happened is a fairly normal television thing, unless it becomes an out of the box hit, and then they'd probably be like, okay, we'll approve 2 at a time. So anyway, Just to clear that up. But it is good. Don't minimize it. Just to understand that's how TV works. Although there were some 2-season announcements in here, but I think there are different reasons for that, which I will now get into. But before we do, cheers to Infinity Train, better than the Thomas Choo Choo. Well, not going to disagree with that. Cheers to you, Austin. So let's get into it's sort of so one of the things that's interesting about all this is with this announcement, Cartoon Network and HBO Max, it sort of was introduced all together. There wasn't like before when you do a network thing, they wouldn't so much be like Universal presents NBC, all this stuff. They would just say lead with what channel it's on. But because everything's going to go on HBO Max, even like Sesame Street was shown in the Cartoon Nito trailer and things like that, even though that's not going to air on Cartoon Network, or at least that's what we're to understand at this point. So I think they know, but that's also because most kids watch just streaming. They don't watch linear TV. I've seen a lot of people say, well, if you look at the TV ratings, like I don't know a single kid who watches TV that way. They either watch on demand or streaming. So that's probably why it was presented that way. They know what's up, even if people who report those things do not. But that is what is going on. The first things are these are the kind of more Cartoon Network things. Tiny Toons, hello Trent. Tiny Toons, Luniversity, and Gremlins got 2-season orders. Gremlins got a huge bunch of big casting announcement this past week. And they're both high priorities for the studio. They really want Gremlins, Secret of the Mogwai, which had a Mountain Dew commercial, which I'll talk about later. That's a high priority for the studio, as well as bringing back Tiny Toons. There's also Spielberg's involved. Studios freak out when Spielberg's involved. They're like, oh shit, we better take this seriously. Let's approve a show like Smash, and it'll do really well. That's a whole other thing. But they've given those 2-season orders. They're going to do 3 Ben 10 specials, which will be 45 minutes. I don't know much about those. I think one is going to have an older Ben 10 working with a younger Ben 10. That could be cool. I watched Ben 10 so long ago. There's going to be a season 4 of Craig of the Creek. I believe there's a spin-off of Craig of the Creek. I don't know. Maybe I skipped that. 2 seasons of Total Drama Island. They clearly really like Total Drama. Supposedly it's big on TikTok. That's bizarre to me. And a 3rd season, congrats to Victor and Valentino, which reminded me I need to watch more Victor and Valentino. I feel like when the show first came out, I was watching a lot, and then it like disappeared. So I need, in my life at least, it's still on the channel. The Gremlins cartoon has Ming-Na Wen and BD Wong, and talk about a Mulan reunion. That is true. That is true, Ryan. That is true. Cheers. Thank you for the super chat. They also approved a new show called Jade Armor, which centers around the martial arts loving Lan Jun, an unlikely. Oh yes, that's true. An unlikely teenage heroine who must learn the ancient secrets of her family and uncover the unexpected while navigating life as a team. That sounds cool. Anyway. So the preschool stuff, which seemed to be the more emphasis, they made a trailer for that. They're really pushing Cartoon Nito. They really want to push the idea of that. And they did. Sesame Street is not on that block, but I think they understand a lot of this stuff is going to be consumed on the same place Sesame Street is. But they said there are things like Bat Wheels is happening. We heard about that. Bugs Bunny Builders, Tom and Jerry Jr., Bees Blocks, which is a Sesame Workshop kind of spin-off thing, and as well as Mecha Builders, which is another Sesame Street thing, as like the Sesame Street is mech things. That's a little weird. And then we got to the HBO Max animated movies, which include the Amazing Worlds of Gumball movie. I'm not sure. There wasn't anything about that Gumball show, the spin-off show or whatever. Teen Titans Go, The Night Begins to Shine. And the Tweety Mysteries was in the movie section, but that seemed weird in the press release. I was a little confused about that. So what to make of all this? I think the main thing to think about all this when it comes to Cartoon Network, Warner Media, and all that is clearly they know, and probably AT&T looked at, their biggest problem is preschool stuff, but also that one of the biggest selling points for HBO Max, and ever since HBO got the rights to Sesame Street, is that they have the biggest franchise in preschool entertainment. HBO Max understands that one of their big selling points to consumers is that they have Sesame Street. A lot of parents don't really even use traditional TV, they just use streaming and online stuff, will be using Sesame Street. So if you already have a large audience who is buying your streaming service for Sesame Street, you're going to be making more preschool things because streaming is the priority. This whole idea that linear TV is that's just not a thing. I'm sorry. So thus why the preschool thing is such a priority. It seems like they still want to do things with Cartoon Network. They do want to appeal to a lot of people, the streaming service, which is amazingly ambitious. I think probably one of the more ambitious streaming services. And it doesn't seem like they want to abandon those people, but thus why you're probably going to see Cartoon Network announcements and everything with Cartoon Network be evenly split between the typical demo, which they don't want to lose, they've said that, but they very much want to get the preschool thing. So we're just going to keep seeing the preschool stuff go on and on. This was a major show dump. What I think about this is they don't seem to have a huge Adventure Time type hit, and I think that's one thing that's really dragging down Cartoon Network in general. I think they really do need. I thought Trick Moon could have maybe been that, but I don't know. I think they need things that aren't from the Adventure Time school. They need things that they haven't done before. Like they need a totally different, like when Adventure Time and regular show happened, they were totally different for Cartoon Network, and they need something like that to rejuvenate the Cartoon Network brand, and they don't have that right now. So they're probably like looking at the preschool stuff as like, let's build this up while we're doing that. So, no, I know it's about Craig's sister. I forgot the name of it. So, anyway. Jim, I double checked, and this is the 5th time you used that image of SpongeBob movie crap thumbnail. I can't tell if that's lazy or consistent. It is an in-joke. I'm doing Nintendo. I'm doing it on purpose. I kind of just use it because it's funny. I actually have to re-look up the image. Like, I'm not smart enough to save this image on my computer. I was like, oh, and then I'll put all this crap on a drive, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta use it again. Fuck. So anyway, there is a specific reason. I can talk about. Do you want me to talk about why SpongeBob is in this? It's actually sort of. I can jump. Let me jump ahead, and then let's do that. Is everyone cool with that? Let's talk about why I said SpongeBob ineligible, or how he's not eligible for awards, because that is true. So what's going on there? So this kind of happened because of Barb and Star Go to Vesta Del Mar, which I saw and is actually really great. You should definitely check it out if you can. And this leads into SpongeBob. Actually, no, it really does. And it actually brings up the problem with award shows this season. And I'm telling you, this is going to be an awful award season. Just buckle up. But it is about to get worse, guys. So I will lead into SpongeBob. Don't worry. Barb and Star Go to Vesta Del Mar was supposed to come out this summer. When it was supposed to come out this summer, and they instantly in January decided, let's just put it out on premium VOD in February. When they decided that, they actually got in this kind of weird situation with the Golden Globes, because with the Golden Globes, you can release up until the end of February. However, you have to have screened for the Hollywood and Foreign Press by the end of November. Does that make any sense to you? No. The Golden Globes suck. We already knew this. But, so, they can't be eligible for this year because they didn't screen for them because they didn't know on November 30th. But they also can't screen for next year. Now, I'm not saying Barb and Star would have gotten a ton of Golden Globe nominations. And a lot of people are saying that doesn't make any sense. And a lot of people are saying it probably wouldn't have gotten a nomination, actually. But they are saying they defend the fact that it's just being ineligible isn't right. Now, how does this get into SpongeBob? SpongeBob actually screened on before the November 30th deadline. But because they moved the release date, they took it out of the running to be voted on. So they can't actually screen it again. So it's actually ineligible for Best Animated Feature next time. Seriously. And apparently there's other awards bodies where this situation is becoming an issue, and particularly with Barb and Star and Sponge on the Run. Because before Sponge on the Run, they sort of had a release date. Some people have actually reviewed it and seen it. Are they going to have to rescreen it? No one's sure what to do. So right now, there are actually, literally, this has never happened before with these award shows. There are two movies that are technically ineligible, like major films. These are, one's with Kristen Wiig, one stars SpongeBob, and they're actually seriously ineligible. So it is an actual thing, and they haven't said like, oh, we'll make these exceptions. You can be in next year. Don't worry about it. They literally haven't commented on it. This was a story in Variety, which is a major thing that all of them, I don't know what the Hollywood Foreign, but they're crazy, stupid people. But like everyone in the movie, like business is talking about like, how did you let this happen? How did you let these movies be ineligible? And everyone's pointed out that they don't think either of these movies would get a nomination, but the fact that they're not letting them even have the chance of it, nobody is okay with. So I'm hoping that they will, I mean, the Golden Globes suck. It doesn't matter, but people are saying like, no awards body has commented on this. No one said like, oh, well, we will let SpongeBob be eligible for the Oscars next year, or we will let Barb and they like, this is a simple, like, you call them and they're not answering these questions, which makes me think this is a problem that's going to happen again. But it's interesting, the two movies that have been pointed out with this are Barb and Star and Sponge on the Run, which is true. So Barb and Star kind of brought this to everyone's attention, but SpongeBob is also a problem. So it's, that is why I wanted to I kind of put it in there because I wanted to bring up to people, like, it's kind of crazy. We have an animated movie that can't get nominated for anything. Actually, it's, that's a real thing. Like, I don't, they didn't do this well. This is going to be an awful awards season. Buster's upset because Buster's being Buster. Jimmy Neutron did show up to the Oscars, and he wore that swan dress and everything. Okay. Can they get Zach to storyboard again, please? All right. So let's get into some casting things, because some interesting actual things that involve movie things happen, and I will get Buster Buster. Anyway. Jordan Peele has cast Keke Palmer in his new movie. This is supposed to come out next July. I think it got a California tax credit as well, but that's information I have in my head. And supposedly Daniel Kaluuya will also be in this, who will reunite. We don't know what this is about. Supposedly Keke Palmer is playing the villain, which also no one really seems to actually know for sure. But it would actually be cool if Daniel Kaluuya is in that. Supposedly Jesse Plemons turned down the other role in this, which leads into our next story, actually. But it's interesting that this is casting, and it supposedly is kind of a three-hander, supposedly. But again, I haven't read the script, and apparently no one seems to know. So what happens with Jesse Plemons actually explains a lot of what happened with Killing the Flower Moon, with Martin Scorsese, and a lot of plot holes that we were kind of confused about. So basically, you've heard of the film Killing of the Flower's Moon, I think, the next Scorsese film that is now at Apple. What happened was it was at Paramount and suddenly it left because they asked for more money. Turns out that was actually not as true as we originally thought. The problem wasn't just the price tag. The problem was DiCaprio didn't want to be the lead. He wanted to have a different role. DiCaprio has been attached to this project. Actually, J.J. Abrams was supposed to make this film as his follow-up to Force Awakens. He ended up not doing that, and his follow-up was Rise of Skywalker, so I think that worked out for everyone involved in that one. But DiCaprio, as the script was forming, decided he didn't want the lead. He wanted this other role, and they brought in Jesse Plemons to be the lead in it, basically, and they thought he would be a good choice. Paramount freaked out because they wanted a $200 million movie starring DiCaprio, not Jesse Plemons. Thus why it went to Apple. So I talk often about how in movie news we don't learn certain things as they happen. We learn them usually later. And so apparently this was going on the entire time. We just learned this week that Jesse Plemons is the lead in the next Scorsese thing. Good for him, because I think he's a great actor. I think this will be really cool. As well as Zoe Ashton. I didn't talk about this last week, so I'm a little late on that. Is in Captain Marvel 2 as the villain. I mainly know her for the show Fresh Meat, which was a BBC show, which is actually really good. I don't know how available it is, but if you want a good college comedy, she's in it and she's really good. And then two more things, and I think I'm going to go to the bathroom after. Oh, and I had an awards thing I forgot. Okay, I'll do the two things, awards thing, take a quick pee break before my usual break, come back because I drank a lot of Red Bulls. Thank you for all the super chats, but now I have to pee a little bit. Ari Aster is making a movie starring Joaquin Phoenix. It's called Disappointment Boulevard, which I was just like, I would never name a movie like Life Stinks or just like, it just sounds like you've written your review for me. Basically, it's like Disappointment Boulevard is a disappointing. Take a left at Disappointment Boulevard. Like, are you for real? Anyway, it's supposed to be about a tech giant guy who's like a multi-million change society or something. We don't know anything about it, but an Ari Aster film starring Joaquin Phoenix sounds really interesting. Maybe they'll get Ari Aster to be a little more recognized in awards and stuff like that because of that. But again, don't know what it is. A24 is of course doing it because that's like, he's practically their brand. And Donald Glover signed a Amazon deal, which is supposedly in the 8 figures, which I guess means 10 million or up, basically. And it's an exclusive deal. His Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing we talked about last week with Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to be a part of that. He's also making a thing called The Hive, which Malia Obama is on the writing staff of, which is sort of a Beyonce parody or something. He's shooting Atlanta soon. They're shooting 2 seasons back to back. That is still happening. It's also worth commenting on, he was never officially announced for that Lando show, and from what I'm hearing from this deal, it sounds like there's a good chance that doesn't happen, but I don't know that for sure. But I would say, since he signed a huge deal with Amazon, it seems like a lot of people are going to Amazon. I'm curious what's going on over there. I think Amazon's about to become a much bigger player, not that Amazon needs any help with that as a company, but as a movie studio, it sort of does. Okay, so the director is, this was supposed to be after the thing, the SpongeBob thing, but the director of Judas and the Black Messiah, Shaka King, has commented, actually, there's been some things like how come Judas and the Black Messiah isn't getting as many awards nominations, and it's on HBO Max now for the next, I think, till mid-March, if you want to check that out. But he actually said his experience in Hollywood, there's like a lot of racism, and he sort of, there's more racism than he encountered in growing up in Brooklyn and stuff. And he said he doesn't want to sacrifice his power for getting awards for that kind of validation. And he's kind of said he's not really interested in awards, even though I would say that studio is probably pushing for awards. It sounds like Daniel Kaluuya has a real good chance of getting a nomination. But the director is openly talking about how he questions the whole reason for getting that sort of validation. Like he's like, maybe I don't want that. Maybe I don't want it from this racist organization, which definitely is, because how does Spike Lee not have a Best Director Oscar? Like, seriously, like Do the Right Thing wasn't nominated the year Driving Miss Daisy won. Like, to me, when I read that as a kid, I was like, oh, they're racist. Like, there's no way around that. And to me, that's like, whatever. But I gotta say, Shaka King, I think that's how you say it. I totally am for him just saying fuck it, because I think more filmmakers should take down the Academy's power for having this power over giving people this sort of dumb validation. So I support him, actually. I think this is a really cool idea, because he's actually like putting the seed in there that's like, maybe my movie doesn't need this. Now, I don't know if everyone who worked on the movie needed that. Maybe everyone who's working on this awards campaign, who's working really hard, if they're not for that, maybe they would just think he's a jerk. And, I get that too. But I like that he's putting this idea out there. I think that is more progressive than he's probably getting credit for. This was on the Breakfast Club, or with Charlemagne the God. I don't really know that show or him very well, but I did watch that interview and his part, which is at the beginning if you want to find it. And I think I thought it was an important way to kind of dispel the myth of that award show's importance, which I think needs to happen anyway. All right, I do have to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. We'll get into more news right after this break. Hey, Super Kirby Dude. Super Kirby Dude, I think. Anyway, how's it going? I will literally be right back after this. Hold on. Okay. I am back. Oh, there's... No, that's... Never mind. Hold on. Oh, there was a super chat. I'm sorry. Zane Power says something, the integrity of award shows. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. Alright, sorry. I just wanted to... Okay, just checking. I think that's all the super chats, yes? Hopefully, maybe. Anyway, there is other... Let's get through some of this news so we can talk about other stuff. But the Invincible trailer... I'll talk about two things and then we'll do Skydance. The Invincible trailer came out this week. It looks really cool. I'm noticing a lot of hype for the show. I know there's like a twist at some point. Don't know what that is. Haven't looked it up. No one say it in the chat. But I'm sort of interested. I don't know if I'm going to watch it, but each trailer does make that show look more and more cool. And I like Amazon does seem to be doing the more edgy superhero stuff. Apparently there is a Paddington 3 in development. This would be without Paul King, who's working on that Willy Wonka prequel thing, which is a terrible idea. I don't know if I really want a Paddington without him and the same creative team, but I guess they're going to do one because those films have become like childhood staples at this point. We watch them a lot. Okay, so Skydance, what's going on? So Skydance Animation, which is the studio that decided to have John Lasseter run its animation department because that's a good idea, have signed an exclusive deal with Apple. This is a real thing. They currently have 2 films in development. Luck. Man, I wish they weren't doing this. That sucks. Luck and Spellbound, and a series which will be of theatrical quality. Luck is from Peggy Holmes. Director Peggy Holmes follows the unluckiest girl in the world thrown into battle in an unseen world of good and bad luck. And a musical feature called Spellbound follows a young lead hoping to break the spell that divides her magical kingdom. Both are from female protagonists, from noted sex creep guy John Lasseter, which is great. And Jane Fonda will actually be in Luck, and supposedly this show, Search for Wanda, will be the first animated show with theatrical quality animation, although people would say that about DuckTales that came out in the 80s, but whatever. Apple seems to not have cared so much that they did this. I think Cartoon Saloon originally was in talks to be the Apple studio. I'm not sure what happened there, but they went with Skydance. I think Cartoon Saloon was a better move. I don't know if anyone... The thing is with the Skydance thing is like the Lasseter thing is sort of one of the weirder things of the Me Too era, because it seems like a lot of people don't, in the animation community we talk about it a lot. In other places, they don't. And when people say, oh, have you ever thought about throwing away all your Miramax DVDs or not watching Miramax movies or, no one watches The Cosby Show, bad example, or watching a Mel Gibson thing. You always hear that stuff. Nobody says, oh, would you throw away your Toy Story DVD? Like, no one brings it up. And I'm wondering if through how animation is viewed, if Lasseter is using that to his advantage. I don't think Apple could get awards things with this, which I know they desperately want. I don't know their plan with Lasseter. It seems like they're really doing this pro female thing, but like with John Lasseter, like to me, it's like, here's the thing. I think Lasseter, you know, he's a pretty awful person, but his legacy is already set. Like he was gonna retire, actually, like regardless of this getting revealed. That was the plan. It seems like he wants to come back out of some like stupid spite or something. To me, it's like, just retire, dude. Like, just like regardless of, no one can take away from him that he changed animation history. But I just wish it's like, just end it, walk off into the sunset, make an animated YouTube channel that none of us have to watch, and then like that's it. Like, it's just like, doing this is just like, I think, hurting the medium more than it's helping, and that's sad, because he's almost like become the antithesis of what he used to be, at least publicly, actually, because of everything he did. Oh, sorry, I should stop flipping my cards so much. Sorry. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Skydance, but I'm not happy about this. And if someone got that opportunity, and maybe he's gotten better, maybe he's been in therapy and stuff, maybe he's like really worked on himself. I don't know, but we don't know that. So right now it just feels creepy. Sorry, Red. The last movie was directed, from the director of Cars 2. All right, so Tim Burton has announced he's going to be making a Wednesday Addams TV show for Netflix. I I just think Tim Burton's been building to making something that's obvious. His filmography has been very obvious. So when I was in college, I heard from someone who worked with him and actually said that they always felt that Ed Wood was sort of the pinnacle of him creatively, and everything they talked about while they were animating and working at Disney and stuff. And he was like, he felt like after Ed Wood, it was sort of a steep decline, because it was like everything he knew about him creatively was already in all the movies. And I would sort of agree with that, because I do feel like Ed Wood's probably the best movie, although I think like there's glimmers of hope, like Big Fish and certain things. But I agree, like this just feels like, maybe Tim Burton just likes to work, which I've heard a lot of creative people talk about. Like, they don't even care if it's good or not. They just want to work, and maybe that's where he's at. Maybe, I don't know, but it just feels like a real decline at this point. I don't know. Tim Burton, I'm sort of over Tim Burton. It's like, to me, it's like the last Tim Burton movie for me is like Sleepy Hollow, and there's like a few exceptions. We watched Frankenweenie with Sophie, and that was fun. And there's certain ones after that, but like Sleepy Hollow was like the last one I think I really, and I know people don't like that one. I mainly like it because Emmanuel Lubezki did a good job shooting it. But the one, first one I really loved is Mars Attacks, and it's like, I feel like that period is amazing, and after that it gets real dicey. But I do like Big Fish. There was a Biggie documentary trailer it's going to come out on March 1st. Biggie's a big deal in my neighborhood, so I'll probably check it out. Although it's like, I've seen so many Biggie life story things, I don't know how much new info I can really get at this point. But it's called Biggie, I Got a Story to Tell. It looks neat, at least. I haven't seen some of that footage, so maybe it'll be cool. We also found out about the Hugh Jackman sci-fi film that was part of Warner Brothers' HBO Max thing, but we never got a release date. We finally did. It's coming out September 3rd, and we didn't know much about it. And when it comes out, it is about what? Maybe I read that. A guy of the mind who helps clients access lost. A PI of the mind who helps clients access lost memories. His life is forever changed. This would be Hugh Jackman, when he takes on a new client, May, played by Rebecca Ferguson, only to uncover a violent conspiracy and have to answer the question, how far would you go to hold on to the ones you love? So I don't know what that means, but anyway, that's one of the other movies doing the HBO Max theater thing. Also, Aardman Animation is going to be doing more CG animation. It's going to be making more of a priority. I know they did that They've done CG animation things. It sounds like they're going to be doing more. I'm curious what's going to happen with them, particularly with them doing more stuff with Netflix. I hope Netflix just signs an exclusive deal with them at some point. I have seen 9. I have a review of it from forever ago in one of the old review omnibuses somewhere. I forget where. Okay. Moving on. Disney Animation has announced that they're going to make their first animated short in 5 years, which is depressing. It is called Us Again. It will be, of course, in front of Raya and the Last Dragon. So if you spend however much the premiere access is, you can see it before. I guess it'll just be there. I don't know if it's part of the premiere access. I don't know how they'll do that, actually. But anyway, an elderly man named Art and his young at heart wife Dot, who rekindle their zest for life through a dance one magical night. The short has no dialogue and is told entirely through dance and a funk and soul infused score that actually sounds pretty cool. So I'm excited for that. It'll obviously be out with Raya and the Last Dragon. Other things, Mission Impossible 7, which has been shooting forever, and with COVID restrictions and Tom Cruise getting mad and all those things, they were supposed to be shooting 7 and 8 back to back. They're not doing that anymore. They're going to shoot 8 at some point. I'm going to be honest, I think a lot of that is for mental health reasons. To be honest, I think everyone was just like, can we just stop now, please? It sounds like it was very hard to shoot that movie. It was very stressful. It was probably getting very expensive. I think they just want to call it a day. On that, there was the Gremlins ad with Mountain Dew. It was cute. I think Ryan even said on Twitter or whatever that it totally makes sense that they would have a goth daughter. It was a fun little cute thing. It does seem like very much Warner's wants to get Gremlins back in the public eye as much as possible, particularly I guess with the Cobra Kai thing. There was a Ratchet and Clank pilot that suddenly showed up on the streaming service Crave. I don't really know Ratchet and Clank very well other than the movie, but supposedly the designs of the movie were in this pilot. From what the animation I saw, it looked cool. I didn't watch the pilot because I don't know what my opinion would really be, because all I've seen of Ratchet and Clank was that movie. But everyone seems to like the pilot better, so that's cool. That's kind of weird that it just showed up. This seems to always be a thing every 6 months. Yeah, Rian Johnson's still making those Star Wars movies. Stop making this a story. Just like until he's casting it or it has a date, like in my mind he's still making them. Just everyone stop, please. Just stop asking him. Like what Midnight's Edge is not accurate. They're not a good place to get information. They're just a weird place to hear conspiracy theories about Kathleen Kennedy. So it's just like, wow. Anyway, I'm just like until they have said he's fired, he's not fired. Like clearly they make a big deal out of firing people. So, just please stop. Anyway, stop asking him. It sounds like it's happening. Okay. One short thing, I guess. The DuckTales is going to end with a 90-minute special that'll be on Disney XD and Disney Now on March 5th. I think that's sad because, that was a good show. I didn't really get to watch all of it. At some point, maybe I will. I'm sort of into Harley Quinn right now, very slowly, and Muppets and too many things. But I know Ratchet and Clank is a video game. He's too busy to make the Donut Hole sequel. It's sad that it's ending. I need to watch more of it, but at least it's getting a special, and I hope it wraps up things very well. It's March 15th and not March 5th? Damn. Okay, March 15th. I apologize. Thank you, TuneJ723. All right, so I wanted to talk about, because this week seemed to be an interesting week for movie news and like actual accuracy, and people actually reading things, which is like a big issue, actually, which is crazy. But well, I'll get into a couple of them, I guess. So if you were on twitter.com this week, you probably saw this article from IndieWire that was a review of the latest episode of WandaVision, and people would bring up how WandaVision is structured, basically like bring up the problems it has with WandaVision structure, which I have brought up, which a lot of actual screenwriters have brought up their issues with it. Like many script doctors have actually, if you look at blog posts and stuff, have pointed out that this is not structured very well. And that's what they were saying. And everyone said, like, oh, people have binged so much, they don't know what TV's like anymore, and making all these assumptions. And if you read the article that they were retweeting and making fun of, it very clearly doesn't say that. And it was like very annoying. Like, I don't understand why everyone did that. And it's like, it's sort of everything with the WandaVision so good, like, you don't deserve it if you don't like it narrative has gotten like so distorted. And the fact that you're retweeting an article trying to make it basically sound like it says something other than it does, but a lot of people did. Like, I kept seeing that article for days and days and days, and like I almost wanted to respond to everyone and be like, hey, could you like read this, because like you look stupid, like you look dumber than, like, it's not the greatest review in the world, but it just looks like a little stupid, to be honest with you. And I even noticed with the Scorsese thing, when Scorsese brought up the thing with curation and how streaming services have a lack of curation, which I agree with. When I was bringing up the Muppet Show earlier, I was saying how if we had an idea of what episode to watch first, instead of just like, here you go, I don't know. It's like, it would have been nicer if we knew a specific episode to watch. Or there was a section that was like, hey, classic movies from the 70s. Each week we present a new one and have a good introduction or something, because HBO Max owns Turner Classic Movies. They could totally do that, or something like that. Give a sense of curation. And the interesting thing about that article is how many of you actually read that article? Because I don't think a lot of people actually did. Because that article is not really about curation. It's about Federico Fellini. I read the article, and I was honestly a little shocked after all this discourse about classic film and curation, all this stuff, that this essay was not about that at all. And no one on Twitter was talking about, like, hey, in the Fellini article, Martin Scorsese said this thing. And, like, they were just bringing up, oh, this article he wrote, and leading you to believe it was about curation, which very much makes me believe that no one who tweeted it had actually read it. Because through that article, he makes a good point about curation, about how these specific theaters had specific movies, and you always know if they played a certain movie, you had to see it, and that's how he got into Fellini and showing you how curation actually works. So, my whole sort of thing with this is like, please, first off, if you see people talking about a certain article, or like how I mentioned earlier in the show, I hadn't listened to that podcast with Deborah Snyder. I didn't really want to. I admitted my fault there. Please, everyone, read up what's going on, because I'm really getting sick of this whole thing, and this whole movie worse, where everyone is clout chasing and all this, but they're not thinking about like why they want that clout, what they're going to say with it. They just want this sort of sense of popularity. And I agree, I 100% agree that what we need now is curation. And I was, and how classic film and older film and foreign film can ignite your imagination in such a way, much like it did with Scorsese, and how he loved Federico Fellini and 8.5 and La Strada and so many great films. And he mentions so many good classic movies in that. But seriously, I was never more pissed off at film Twitter, because they aren't interested. It's like, you're not interested in liking movies at that point. If like Martin Scorsese writes an article about how great Fellini is, like, to me, like, that's the story, guys. Like, that's, curation is important. And so we also had the same thing. This is kind of like Jim gets mad about film Twitter, but there were so many things this week. You saw a lot of people talking about how there's this one critic who writes for the New York Times talking about how he doesn't see movies before 1975. His name is Rick Rojas. I will never follow him in a million years because of that. And everyone from actual Turner Classic Movies Twitter to every critic in the world was bringing up how classic film is really important and everything like that. To be honest, I tried to read some of his stuff. He's a terrible writer, and honestly, I don't think his opinions on film are really worth much of a damn, because he's so close-minded about, the history of cinema. I'm not exactly sure what interesting perspective he has, because he hasn't even tried to get one. But I am getting sick of this whole thing of, I am a person of culture because I am, sort of thing. And it's like, to me, like, when I wanted to talk about film and classic film, I had to like learn stuff and research, and like why I get to write for people is because they know I'm gonna not only research and like do, I'm gonna keep researching. I don't just go, I'm Jim, I can just get by on this. I don't actually do that. Um, like I had to like learn things and read books and like watch lots of class, or like why I did my William Wellman series. Like before I was on Pizza Party, I did this series on a classic director. I wanted to watch every film from a classic Hollywood director, and a lot of the classic like Hollywood people are more cinephile people I got respect from because of that. But I did 80 something reviews, so it's like once you do the work and you have that perspective, because people know you did the work, because they know you have interesting ideas and stuff. But if you're just saying I have interesting ideas because I'm, I don't know if it's white privilege or just, rich person privilege or whatever, but I'm honestly sick of it. And I don't think I have to take you very seriously if you're not going to take the time to understand cinema beyond like your normal everyday person perspective, which is like, I'm sure those people can say interesting things, but like, what's the point of you as a critic, to be honest with you? I don't really get the everyday critic person thing. It doesn't really work, but I find it disappointing, and I've been disappointed in the New York Times a lot lately, to be honest, and it's not, because they're like a liberal New York Times or something. It's because like I feel like they could do a lot more with all those resources, and the fact that they're hiring someone like this makes me dispute them, as a serious as any sort of serious place for film criticism. I find it so offensive. It's just like, you won't see a film before 1975. It wasn't like he was like, well, this genre sucked before 1975, because I actually know. He doesn't know. He literally doesn't know. He like has he not seen Rocky? Like how is, if this guy hasn't seen Rocky and he's reviewing Creed, like I don't get it. I just don't get it. So anyway, I'm there's been a lot of things this week, from the Reply All podcast thing to everyone. Oh, good night, Super Drive. Where I'm just sort of sick of people getting by on they're an expert because they are bullshit. Just like that needs to end. I'm sick of it. It's just like, it's a privilege that these people don't get to have anymore. It's like you're. Anyway, sorry. I'm gonna stop. This is just me getting mad. But Zane Powers, yeah, but Doug Walker, checkmate. All right, sorry. This is why I ended for the end of the show, because I know it was gonna be not as fun. But anyway, I'm just saying, let me just say this at the end. If you are interested in classic film, I tweeted this earlier, but just so it's in the show, and if you do see this, if you do like a film and you always hear it compared to a classic movie, or if there's a director you like, or there's a writer, or a sort of kind of film, or if you like neo-noir, for example, go through and see what critics compare that film to, and see the movies that they compare them to. Most directors list off their favorite films. Edgar Wright does this a lot. Like in all the interviews for a new movie, he mentions other movies. Like if you like Baby Driver, The Driver, Walter Hill's film, I know influenced that, and influenced Drive. So if you like both those, there you go. Detour is a public domain film noir film. It's one of the best film noir films. It's like an hour long. It is a very good intro to classic cinema. If you're sitting around like, I want to get more into, I like Blade Runner, but I don't know anything about film noir, Detour is literally, I've actually discussed this with film professors. I've said, I think we should really be selling Detour more to kids because it's so accessible. Like you can find it on YouTube right now. Anyway, there's a lot of good classic films. I feel like just recommending like Singing in the Rain and stuff isn't as helpful as like, just look at your favorite director, look at your favorite movie, look at their influences and go see those. And as a great entry point that will go under stuff that you actually like. You might not like Singing in the Rain or Psycho or whatever, but I mean, Psycho is really good. You should see both those, but let's say you don't. Don't take everyone's narrative or the canon. Find out your own sort of thing. Just find some interesting stuff through the entry points that you already know, basically. All right, sorry. Oh yeah, that's true. That critic hasn't seen Night of the Living Dead. Yeah, fuck that guy. All right, we only have a few things, then Obits, and then I'll take another break, I guess. Well, I kind of have to pee again, just to be safe. And I got to do all those reviews. So, Marvel has gotten the rights back to Punisher and Jessica Jones, officially ending the Netflix deal. It sounds like those Netflix shows are going to stay on Netflix, but those characters are back. Whether they choose to use the same casting has been a question everyone has been asking, but who knows? As well as Danny Elfman has signed on to make the music for Doctor Strange 2. I'm telling you, I really do think the Spider-Man meetup is in Doctor Strange 2, because anytime anyone's asked in the press, they say it's not in Spider-Man 3. And I think having Sam Raimi direct Tobey Maguire would make people freak out more than John Watts. You know what I mean? Anyway. Okay, these are the three last things. There's going to be a South Park. When you diss Detour, that's when Jim hulks out. LOL. Hey, Will, how's it going? Not Star Wars Detour, the Detour. Cheers to you, Will. I know I've recommended Detour a lot, but it is right there. I do really like Detour a lot. I also don't like when people are like, I love neo-noir. And whenever I hear people go on and on about that, I'm like, I'm getting the impression you don't actually know film noir, which is weird because I can think of many film noirs that are better than the best neo-noir. Yet you don't know what Double Indemnity is. Anyway, sorry. This is like just getting Jim hates people thing. I should have realized everyone would bring up Star Wars Detours. So there's going to be a South Park vaccination special. It'll be on March 10th. It will also simulcast on MTV2. I didn't know we did that now, but apparently we do. Also, Bret Ratner, who I thought we canceled, which was I didn't like him before, and I don't like him now. He's trying to make a comeback with a Milli Vanilli biopic, which apparently is a passion project of his that I don't want to see, and I hope they don't make. And then finally, and this is actually kind of interesting, Mark Wahlberg's Unrealistic Pictures is actually making a docuseries on MoviePass. That's right, we're probably maybe getting an HBO Max documentary series on the raving success and of MoviePass. So if you ever wanted a documentary about the amazing successful venture that was MoviePass, it is apparently happening. I noticed there was not enough press on this, and someone actually sent it to me, and I was like, yes, finally. All right. Now, I do actually have an obituary before we get into the segment part, but one of the Fat Boys, Prince Marky D of the Fat Boys, died this past week. The Fat Boys were kind of an interesting place in hip-hop culture because I think they're looked at as sillier or goofier, but I actually had an interesting experience. You know, I've seen Disorderlies, which is a terrible movie. They used to play it on Channel 11 in New York a lot, in the early mid-2000s, I think. I've seen it a couple times. It's not good. And I knew about like their Beach Boys thing and the human beatbox and all that stuff. But a couple weeks ago, I watch Ralph McDaniel. I follow Ralph McDaniels on Instagram. You should, on Video Music Box, and he will live stream the episodes of Video Music Box. And I saw "Can You Feel It" by the Fat Boys, and the beat was so infectious, and it had been bugging me like almost every couple of days. I was like, you gotta look up that Fat Boy song, man. And I was like, I'd never heard it before. And last night I found the song "Can You Feel It," and it's an amazing beat. It's a great song. I love the human beatbox in it. But I implore you to, I think the Fat Boys are known mainly for the goofy stuff like the Nightmare stuff and the song with the Beach Boys, and those are fine and stuff. But that song, and I posted two of them, and the Fat Boy song, which is them doing a rap video at Coney Island. They did some good shit. I have a new respect for the Fat Boys after this. But "Can You Feel It" is an insanely good song, and with a human beatbox in it, it's just like, yeah, that was really great. So anyway, currently only one of the Fat Boys is still living because the human beatbox died a long time ago. But it's sad to lose. We've been losing a lot of classic hip hop people, and I think that's really sad. All right, so I am going to use the bathroom again real quick just to get myself in the mode for this. It gives me, I don't know, it's more of a mental thing at this point, I guess. But I'm going to do WandaVision, Tom and Jerry, and hopefully Space Monkeys, and then questions. I hopefully will have enough time for questions. We will see when we get to the end of Tom and Jerry what we are going to do. Thank you all for being here tonight. I think it's been a really good show, actually. I'm feeling really good about the show tonight. I have a comment. Let's see. Is it a nice comment? Okay, so someone says, yeah, this is from the Shining Lost film file, said, yeah, I wanted to see it too. Even though Kubrick took it out, it was the scene that actually made the final cut, but not the post-final cut. Oh, that's a good line. I like that. Anyway, all right. Don't forget the crew. Well, this time, maybe... Girl, you know it's true. Oh, yeah. There we go. All right, I will be right back, and then we'll get into WandaVision episode 7. And I have one of the Patreon questions about WandaVision, but I will post spoilers when that starts. Wiz to the Wizening. Nathaniel Foga, that's good. All right, I will be right back. Hold on. Ugh, okay, all right. Then I forget with the Wiz jokes. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna do WandaVision, Tom and Jerry. I might repeat some of the things I said Tom and Jerry previously, because to my understanding, there's actually people who watch the movie crap shorts and don't watch the show. There's some people who watch the beginning part of the show and don't watch the segment. So anyway, that's why I sometimes do that, because I want to get everybody in on that. So if you have to hear me say it twice, I don't think I do that too often, but just so I don't like to repeat myself too much, but I guess there's reasons for it. But anyway, I'm gonna drink some water. All right, I'm going to post spoilers because then I'm going to talk about... I did watch the after credits scene. But thank you for asking me. I heard someone... There weren't enough warnings about that. But anyway. All right, spoilers for WandaVision. If you're going to watch this... If you want to keep watching the stream and mute this for whatever reason, I'm going to wave. So I'm going to wave, and you can go away and mute it. And if you keep it on, I'll wave again when this is over. I don't know if anyone does that. Oh, really? Get Low hits 18? Oh, God. Don't tell me that. I feel old as shit now. Okay. Spoilers for WandaVision. Let's do this. Oh, yeah. The Metallica Twitch thing is hilarious. Okay. So WandaVision episode 7, I believe. I hope. This episode is using the kind of documentary style that we saw in things like The Office and Modern Family. Because I'm assuming both that Modern Family is actually owned by Disney, as well as the fact that it's an actual family sitcom, so it's appropriate. They decided to go in more of the Modern Family vein, although I think they are using the humor of both Modern Family, and I noticed some Curb Your Enthusiasm type stuff in there, which Modern Family and The Office were also very influenced by. And they did it actually a really good job. It seemed like they even used the same like cameras as Modern Family or something. I'm guessing because they own it, they probably could have just called some guy to get it out of a closet or something. And Elizabeth Olsen, I actually thought did a really good impression, or did not impression. I'm sorry, did her best like Julie Bowen. It reminded me of Julie Bowen from Modern Family. So I actually thought she did a good job of doing. It felt like oftentimes she's emulating the moms from these shows, but I think more so on this one. It also feels like as we get newer, they seem to emulate those shows better, which is which is interesting. Kind of shows me they don't. Anyway, and I also thought was the theme song a reference to the show Happy Endings, which is a really good show, by the way. I'm a big fan of that show. It's a good sitcom. I think it was. I think that was a Happy Endings reference, and I appreciate. I mean, the end card was Modern Family, but the thing reminded me of Happy Endings because that was the Modern Family theme was just the families and stuff. So, the plot, I kind of like the superhero stuff more than the sitcom stuff because I often wonder, like most people, I think the sitcom stuff, where is it going and what's the purpose and whose idea was the sitcom stuff. And although I've noticed this one, the Malcolm in the Middle one last week and this one seem to be able to get that very well, it does feel like they're just sort of doing it for doing it, even if they can do it well. And they have actors who are comedically game to do so. But I did like certain things like Monica Rambeau kind of. It's clear she's becoming Spectrum, but I like she did the superhero landing stance just to make it visually clear that she has superpowers now. I was like, all right, guys, let's I don't know if this is to introduce mutants, but I think it is. For Monica, I think it's an interesting way to do that. But her doing the superhero stance, I like obvious visual cue, but very much one. The breaking down the way it is, I'm interested in what's going on there with Wanda, like whose powers is it, what's going on there. That's sort of interesting. And then, of course, and this is a big spoiler if you really don't want to spoil for you, is the reveal of Agatha, which almost like takes over the whole conversation. No one wants to talk about Monica Rambeau. No one wants to talk about the Modern Family and Curb stuff and Kat Dennings and all that. Everyone just wants to talk about Agatha and the Agatha reveal. The thing with the Agatha reveal is we're on episode 7. There are 2 more episodes to go. I will say it does feel like they're doing it because they need to do that on episode 7 at this point. And it doesn't feel like structured in a great way. It feels like this should have happened earlier in the episode and they should have fleshed it out. Now, I don't know what exactly is going to happen in this, but it just feels more like the structure is that way because of the structure of TV, not because of the structure, not because it was done organically within the story. That's the way it feels to me, at least. But I've been questioning the show from the entire time. I do wonder, like, is she using Wanda's powers? Is she using her own powers? Like, her husband, who it seemed Herb, I think, her husband, whoever her husband is, mentioned to Wanda is like, do you need me to help Wanda? Like, it feels like he's in on it. Like, who's the guy who asked the question, that voice? Like, but I did like how they did the Wanda reveal thing. That felt very much like what Modern Family would do if they did something like that. And then they cut it like with all the things, like within the style of the show, that felt actually very natural. And I thought that was a fun reveal. And Catherine Hahn is a great actress. Like, if anyone killed it during this whole time, it was Catherine Hahn. I've heard all sorts of crazy theories. Like, when she sprays them with perfume, it's really she's spraying them with a growth potion or whatever. Like, what's going on with the boys, like what's going on with Wanda, all this stuff. But it was kind of an amazing reveal. And the quick thing at the end with Quicksilver was also, it was a quick thing. You kind of, if you miss the end credit sequence, it's actually rather good. I would say I'm liking them obvious reference certain elements of the show. I wish this was more Office funny and less Modern Family funny. I don't think Modern Family is a huge show in syndication, but I don't think people look back on it that well. I enjoy the show, but I think I enjoy the superhero stuff more the sitcom stuff, to be honest. I think that like sort of organically works a little better, and I'm curious to see where they're going to take it. I am really excited for what's going to happen next, to be honest with you. I think this ended on a really promising cliffhanger. But we have a question from Austin, who said, question for the show. It's a WandaVision spoiler. I wanted you to hear my theory. This is Austin's theory. Firstly, what if Agnes is working with Baron Mordo, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character from Doctor Strange? This is part of the plan to get rid of the magic user like he does with the basketball die, and Agnes is draining Wanda of power. Also, I think the cameo we haven't seen that Paul Bentley was talking about is going to be Dick Van Dyke. It would make sense with the first episode, and you said in movie crap he apparently was a consultant on the show. So they have actually said this. The creators said they didn't want any cameos from sitcom people. I think if it's a big cameo, I think it's Ian McKellen. Patrick Stewart has actually said that he's been asked, and out of respect for Logan, he's not going to do it. I don't think Hugh Jackman's I think they kind of just want to move on with their lives. But Ian McKellen has not said anything. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ian McKellen shows up. I think that is the only Luke Skywalker kind of huge thing they could really do. Like, I don't think everyone's like Robert Downey Jr. I'm sticking with Ian McKellen. But that's an interesting theory. I like the Chiwetel Ejiofor Baron Mordo theory, Austin. I think it's a good thing. That was sort of his Patreon question. But early. He requested it during the thing. So anyway, that's what I thought of WandaVision. And that was Austin's theory of WandaVision. And we'll see where it goes from here. It's going to be Kevin James. All right, so I'm waving. Spoilers are over. Hold on. Spoilers over. Is that for no one? Are we just doing this? Is anyone? Anyway, I wonder. I'm going to have a little Red Bull because it's getting late. I think we're going to fit everything in, he says right now. Let's see. All right. So let's talk about the Tom and Jerry special shorts. These showed up out of nowhere on HBO Max today. No one was expecting them. I know that there's a Tom and Jerry movie coming out next week, but we really had no clue that there was going to be new Tom and Jerry shorts on HBO Max. What we got were two of them. One was, oh, whoa, hey, Will's here. Thank you very much, Will, for that generous super chat. Blows my mind that the last Tom and Jerry theatrical incarnation was 29 years ago. Wonder why. Last score Harry Manchidi ever composed. Still waiting you to review it someday. That film is just madness. Maybe I will next movie crap. I will look that up, Will. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you. That brings up a good... I didn't realize it was 29 years ago. Was it really? I thought there was one in the 2000s. Or I guess theatrical before something. I'm curious the one you're talking about versus... And now, I gotta look this up, Will, but thank you very much for the super chat, and cheers to you. Okay. So what we got of these special shorts that instantly just showed up. On HBO Max. We know that they worked on a while ago. TuneJ723, we know the same person. Mancini. Oh, Harry Mancini. Sorry. Thank you, Ryan. But of these two that came out, we got On a Roll, which is Tom and Jerry fighting kind of in a sushi restaurant. Jerry is stealing sushi, and Tom is actually hired by the sushi restaurant to take care of him. And then we got the house that Cat built, where they're building this kind of where Tom is building this huge kind of cat house kind of structure, and Jerry wants to take it apart, even though Jerry has a mouse hole and shouldn't be such a jerk about it. The first one was written directed by Andrew Dickman, and the second one was co-written and boarded by Ryan Catamon and Michael Rocchio, I think. I never learned how to pronounce that guy's last name. But we do know that, supposedly, according to him, that they worked on these years ago. I know most of the Looney Tunes stuff's been done for a very long time, but that they worked on a few of them, but they didn't specify it, and this was done on a break from Looney Tunes. Favorite Bjork album? Probably either Post or the Dancer in the Dark soundtrack, but I lost track of her after a certain point. But probably Post, I think. But thank you for the super chat, Nutbox64. Odd question out of nowhere, but I like it. Cheers to you. Sorry. So it's interesting. So they worked on these. This is basically the crew of like Pete Baumgarten and several others who worked on the Looney Tunes shorts went over and worked on this sort of on a break from the Looney Tunes shorts. What I find interesting about this is, and I've said this before though, that Chuck Jones tried to go from Looney Tunes to Tom and Jerry, but that transition did not work out. Those Tom and Jerry's, most people don't actually like very much. And this seemed like a seamless transition. They made some really good Tom and Jerry shorts. Like these fit in with the classic ones very well. I don't think much like I think of what their work is with Looney Tunes. No, I do not think they're the best things Looney Tunes cartoons ever or anything, which I don't think they would think that either. But I think they're solid entries within that. And I'd much rather, this is such solid work where it's the kind of thing where if I was going to talk about what the best things in animation were, the year these are being made, these would always be on this list, and as well as these Tom and Jerry shorts. They're absolutely fantastically well done. I did not expect the creator of Uncle Grandpa to be making such amazing animated shorts currently, and he is really killing it. These are so good. I really like the sushi restaurant one was a lot of fun. I only got to show Sophie one. She seemed to be into them, but I don't know. We haven't watched Tom and Jerry in a while. I also like the Cat House one. I noticed that is actually how you build one of those things, but you usually use an Allen wrench, but Allen wrenches aren't as funny. And also the thing with the nails in the feet in the house that Cat built, that's I don't know. That almost felt like itchy and scratchy material at a certain point. It was just whoa. I really, that was I was man, that one was dark too, because Jerry just was fucking with him just to do it. There's no reason. He was just you can't hang out in my house. You have a house. And he just destroys it. That's kind of dark. I like that about Tom and Jerry. Sometimes you're whoa, that was kind of messed up, guys. Just to do some slapstick. I do like Chuck Jones. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was going to be such a thing, but, I like where this is going. I like these two. I don't know. I think I like the house that Cat built maybe more, but I do like the sushi one. Sophie and I got to watch it, and that was fun. And the whole idea of using that conveyor belt and things like that. They naturally use the locations very well and kind of do a simple thing, much like you saw this crew do with their Looney Tunes, where you'd have ones where it would be wet cement or gum with Porky and Daffy. They use a very simple geographic setup and just bounce so many different ideas off of it. And it's just so exciting. That's such vaudeville kind of slapstick kind of stuff, where you take a simple idea and just bounce a million different ideas off of it, and just kind of create this whole slapstick world. And I think that's the kind of energy you want from Tom and Jerry. They know it perfectly well. It's just a simple premise. They're at a sushi restaurant. They're having an argument over building this big cat house. That's all you really need from Tom and Jerry. You do not need any more complications. And there's a lot of interesting life in that world, and they were able to kind of bring that to it and understand the universe of what these cartoons are. I hope we get more of them. Maybe next week with the movie. I really no one seems to really know, but I'm excited for more of these. I think these are probably some of the best Tom and Jerry stuff I've seen in a very long time. All right, let's get into Gorillaz and the Space Monkeys. Little Dub Cheffin. All right. Yeah, I think. Is Uncle Grandpa? Did he? Anyway. Sorry. 3 segment nights are a bit crazy, but I wanted to continue the Gorillaz series, so we're finally doing it. Okay. So, let's see. All right. Now I'm going to talk about, you're almost one more to go. Thank you, Cornbread. Thank you. Gorillaz. Oh, sorry, Carter Wright. Well, you have a good night. Thank you for being here. Um, I like it when people say goodbye. It makes me feel good. So, Gorillaz, Little Dub Cheffin. So, what is this exactly? Because you're probably like, I've never heard of this before. So, the Space Monkeys are sort of an offshoot of the Gorillaz. In Gorillaz lore, they're a virtual band, though not to the degree the Gorillaz. And according to the Gorillaz biography, the group is an actual team of monkeys used in space tests who had stolen the tracks from an unattended Kong Studios and remixed them without Gorillaz' permission. What they actually are is they came together when they came together because of a remix of Tomorrow Knows Today from Darren Galia. He created a dub remix of Tomorrow Comes Today, and Damon Albarn actually really liked it. And he says, "Would you like to remix the entire first Gorillaz album?" The Space Monkeys are Darren Galia, I think, Richie Stevens, and Gavin Dobbs. And they remixed the entire thing. The album's actually called Like a Come Home. It's actually pretty relaxing and nice if you know that Gorillaz album. It's a good kind of offshoot kind of thing. It's worth one listen, like in the background while you're doing something. It's actually kind of nice. But yeah, it is sort of this offshoot thing from the Gorillaz. They didn't do these kind of reggae kind of dub remix albums for any of the other ones. They always say they're going to. They haven't. They don't even really play this version live that often. They only do sometimes. But this music video is basically the Space Monkeys go into space. It's very limited animation. You get a million different space monkeys for some reason. It's very 2001 influence. And then the video ends, and there's like a lot of credits, which makes me think this is from a DVD or something. But I couldn't find any info on that. The album didn't really do that well. The song Little Dub Cheffin, which this is an A1M1 remix, didn't really even do that well in the UK. It only reached about 73. It seemed to be just sort of, when they're trying to find out what to do with the Gorillaz, why not have this weird virtual offshoot? And that's what the Space Monkeys sort of are. You just get to watch these limited monkeys float around in space and shit like that, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. But it is. I think what I really like about this is it's just like, let's take the Gorillaz and have this weird like monkey thing with it, and I like the idea of it. I don't know if it's like I want it more. I don't know if I really want more beyond that from the Space Monkeys, really, and I don't know if I really want other videos. This is sort of just like a weird thing most people forgot about, and I know they did like a video with D12, which is really horrible, and I don't even want to get into, but because it's like not worth it. But this to me is, because it at least is like enough of a weird remix, and it's weird for like a virtual band to have another virtual band remix them. I've never heard of that before, and I think its uniqueness makes this kind of worth talking about. But it's not like a great video. It's probably one of their worst Gorillaz videos, and it's pretty clear like they knew, like, let's not spend a lot of money on this because this ain't doing much. But I think it's kind of a fun little thing. It's a fun, nice, relaxing album. It's worth the watch, but it's not really going to inspire you or do anything incredible or anything like that. It's just sort of like an interesting, fun remix idea. And I do like that the music's all consistent. If you listen to a lot of remix albums by different people, and it's sort of weird having one person or one group, the Space Monkeys, remix an entire album is actually kind of a cool concept, particularly for the Gorillaz, which their music's sort of all over the place. So making it even more consistent in some ways, I don't know if that's good or not, but I like the Gorillaz like that. But kind of changing it in a different way kind of shows, also makes me appreciate the original album. But I like the kind of like the fun of this dub remix, and even doing a remix of a song that wasn't an actual single is kind of an interesting idea. So if you're a Gorillaz fan, this is worth checking out and thinking about the kind of weird side Gorillaz, which are the Space Monkeys, or what's called Gorillaz or Space Monkeys versus the Gorillaz. Little Dub Cheffin, I guess. Anyway, all right. Let's do questions, and then we'll ride this home. I finally did this segment. I'm so proud of myself. I was like, one day I will do it, because I forgot to. Then this video will take forever to come out because I want to do No Neck Joe. But I have one Patreon question from Jordan Bouchard. who was the reason Prince of Egypt got reviewed. He won the Patreon movie review vote. But he says, in regards to the Mandela effect, do you remember Looney Tunes being spelled Tunes or Toons? Are there any popular Mandela effects you believe in or no? When you brought it up, I was like, I definitely got it confused as a kid sometimes. So I think that is actually a better one than the Berenstein Bears thing. I would say the Berenstein Bears thing was one that I can think of. I couldn't think of any others, but the Berenstein Bears one was. I would say like just shows being on certain channels and then you learn out they're not, or like finding out. I forget what other ones I would say would be Mandela effect ones, but I would say definitely the Berenstein Bear one is one. I know that's a basic one, but it's definitely one that I would say yeah, I'm gonna stick with those, sorry, because that's the only one. I mean, I guess like there's probably like another one. I can't think of it. There was one I was thinking of the other day actually. I think it was like Spider-Man on a channel that it never was. Like, I think it was like CBS. Well, maybe they replay. See, some of these might just be like, it just happened, but yeah. Yeah, okay, I'm going to see Berenstein Bears. But the Looney Tunes one, I have had that problem when I was a kid, and then you learn. It's like, wait, is it? Which one is it? I thought it was Tunes. Damn it. I think it's Spider-Man without the hyphen. I always do that. I always think that's the way, but it's not the way. Anyway, first question. Zane Powers. When someone who is awful dies, should you be respectful and not openly take pleasure in their death? Example, Rush Limbaugh. Oh yeah, I forgot he died actually. Rush Limbaugh is pretty awful, so I think it's fine. If it's a Rush Limbaugh person, I mean, context and particular examples, dependent. Cornbread. So I can see you are looking forward to the new Mortal Kombat film. I am too. But can you succeed without classic MK icon Chun-Li and her best friend Katana Wolfman? So sad. Okay, I forgot to bring this up in my notes. I forgot to write this down. But I don't know if you saw the article where it's like, where's Mortal Kombat icon Chun-Li? I can't believe someone wrote that. And they kept it up and then put like a correction at the bottom instead of taking it. That article is embarrassing. I don't. Austin says, thoughts on American Hustle. I reviewed it a while ago. It was kind of fun. I mean, I don't remember it that well, but whatever I said in that review, I definitely agree with, even though David O. Russell sucks. Although David O. Russell and American Hustle rhymes so perfectly. That's the best thing about it, probably. Although J-Lo was pretty good in that, as I recall. I think she was pretty good in that. A lot of people were good in that. That was a fun movie, but it's like, I don't remember what the fuck it was about now, so how good was it really? Major Mekazawa, do you think it's weird that Batman and Superman had their own solo animated shows for the DC animated universe, but Wonder Woman never got her own series? I do think that's weird, and I think there should actually be more animated movies with Wonder Woman. Like when 84 came out, it was like, how come they only made the Kerry Russell one? And although I think that one's actually very good, yeah, they should do more with that character. How come Wonder Woman hasn't had an animated series? That's a damn good point, actually. That should have happened. You're right. Sunspot Mill, do you think Cruella will serve as a prequel to the two Glenn Close movies? Oh my god. That would explain why it's the 70s. You know what? That would be amazing. I'm okay with that. I've never seen those, actually, so I'll probably do that before the new one. Nathaniel Floga, can Zack Snyder do anything right? No. We can't. Two Muppet-related questions. Zane Powers. All right, here we go. If Muppets came back in a variety style, like the original, who is the worst modern celebrity they could get, and what famous story would you want to be made a movie? The worst, probably like Colin Jost or something. I don't think he would work well with them. And famous story, I always thought they should do Three Musketeers. There's like a new Three Musketeers happening, and like if Muppets did it, I think that would be the best way to do it. Like do Three Musketeers, I think. Another Sunspot Mill, what are your thoughts on CN/HBO Max other upcoming cartoons so far called Aquaman King of Atlantis. I didn't talk about that. That looks fine. I actually like the design. I'm sorry I didn't talk about that. That looked like a lot of fun to me. Sleepy Time 4Cat Productions. Now that we found love, what are we going to do with it? We'll try to put it in Tupperware. You don't want it to go bad or anything. Evil Ira, what piques your interest enough for you to start watching a new show? Is it word of mouth, overwhelming critical acclaim, or just personal interest? Usually like a particular phrase or critical acclaim. Like, I think Jack said the thing about Rise of TMNT, and that seemed to be actually interesting and made me want to watch it. Same with like if a particular person was really, a lot of people I know wanted me to watch Harley Quinn or DuckTales. It depends on like who my friend is or what the review was or like what the actual words were. I think word of mouth, like I never watched the, what was that chess lady, Queen's Gambit? Like I didn't watch that. So in some ways it helps, but I think it works like personal interest and particular critical acclaim, I guess, is the right thing. Black Sea Axel, do you prefer apples or oranges? Probably apples, but I prefer orange juice. So I like apples, I guess. I didn't answer that right. Zane Powers, instead of America doing Train to Busan, what about Train to Magical Baltimore? What would that movie be like? John Waters would have to be involved. And it could be like Magical Mystery Tour, except they go to Baltimore. And I think that's a John Waters movie, and that would be amazing. Question from the mouth of John Arbuckle: why do you call it oven when you in the cold food and out hot eat hot the food? What the fuck? That I don't what? That's not even a joke, man. That's John Arbuckle. That guy needs to get out. That's crazy talking. Tune J723, opinions on the 2006 TV movie Tom and Jerry Tales. Have you seen it? I haven't, so I can't say anything. I'm sorry. Nathaniel Foga. I don't even know about that one, actually. Wait, where's Nathaniel Foga? Where was he? Where did he go? Okay, Nathaniel Foga. What children's book would you like to see get an adaptation similar to the Where the Wild Things Are movie? Actually, The Spooky Old Tree, the Berenstain Bears story. I think that's an all-timer for me. Let's say that one. Has any movie or reboot ruined your childhood? From Zane Powers. No. I think that's maybe the Alvin and Chipmunks, because Alvin and Chipmunks, that 80s show was real big. I think those new movies have sort of ruined its reputation, to be honest with you. Although I haven't really watched them. I don't think. Anyway, well, except for Road Trip, of course. The Rocket Lobax asks, I forced my friends on Discord to watch a movie. The two choices are Cool as Ice or Airborne. Which should I force them to watch? Oh, Cool as Ice. Not plausible. Didn't Roger Deakins shoot Cool as Ice? I think he did. Not plausible. Question. I don't know, man. Spending $70 million to insert "we live in a society" really says something about our society. Yeah, it does. Bloxy Axelwinkle, this is very on brand for Bloxy. Would Paul Blart beat Nostalgia Critic? Oh, 100%. Cornbread, what is better, Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat? I think I like the design in Street Fighter 2 more than the realistic of Mortal Kombat, but I remember liking the gameplay of Mortal Kombat more, as I recall. If that's how you're supposed to judge games, I don't know. Question, are Mortal Kombat or Doraemon Stand By Me 2 worth risking COVID? I'm planning coming back to cinemas next week. I would say Mortal Kombat. I don't know that other one. Bloxy, did you watch the new Sound Guy short? I did not. I should. Apologies. Jordan Sloffo, do you wish the Muppet Show had gotten Bill and Ted to guess? Ooh, Bill and Ted on the Muppet Show does sound really good. I like that. That's a good idea. Thanofoga, do you believe the term CalArt style is lame? It's not only lame, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, also, it's like, are we really going to use terminology John Kay came up with? Like, no one wants that. Zane Powers, isn't Tom and Jerry too violent for Sophie and making her want to hit you on the head with a hammer when you're working on something in the garage? No, I think it's fine. I've heard people freak out about that because they haven't seen those things in a while. That's often when I've seen people go like, "Did you know cartoons are really violent?" It's like it's fun, simple humor, and it's like whatever. I get the reference. Bruce Parker, why is Disney doing villain origin movies only for their old properties and not for their Marvel IPs? That is a good question. I actually thought Noah Hawley from Fargo, we always heard was going to do a Doctor Doom movie, and I thought a Doctor Doom movie would actually be really cool, like a Doctor Doom origin movie. So Doctor Doom needs to be in the MCU. I know everyone's like talks about all these different things, like Doctor Doom would be amazing in the MCU if they got the right actor. Yeah, the Doctor Doom casting, I'm more into that than this whole like John Krasinski's Reed Richards. I could care less. I want to like get someone amazing, hammy like Tom Hiddleston to do Doctor Doom and like play him in 100 movies. Like Doctor Doom is anyway. How do you fold a fitted sheet? Oh, you just try your best and make it look nice. I don't think that's possible even. What is better, Sesame Street Fighter or Muppet Combat? Muppet Combat, I guess. Honey or Marmalade from Ryan Walterson? Probably, I'm going to say Marmalade, I guess. Bloxy, do you have a preference for razors? What should I buy? I just do the Harry's, so I guess whatever they do. Who's the most interesting normal person, untaught critics? See, I actually don't think anyone who makes regular content could be a normal person. I don't know if there is one because there's certain ones who are like Lindsay Ellis who has a master's, so not normal person in that. And she admits she's not like reviewing every movie that comes out kind of things. But it's like again, I actually don't have a problem with that because she is very open about what her things she does and isn't interesting in talking about. But she wouldn't be a normal person in that. Would Sinram count? Maybe Sinram. I don't know. But Sinram knows his shit, so I don't know if that doesn't count. I don't know if there is one. I can't think of one who would just be like, yeah, I can't think of one. Sorry. Like I wouldn't even say Paleo because Paleo knows stuff. So it's like, I can't think of one to be honest with you. Does not. Wow, that's an interesting. Your Special Edition 97 does not have Jabba that. It might not be that. I don't know. Maybe they cut it out. Who would be worse with a death note, Tom or Jerry? Oh, Jerry's terrible. Do you think Disney will ever release some of the Muppet specials, Muppets of Disney World, John Denver specials? I think if they did this, maybe they will. I think there's a chance. Let me just do a couple more. Cornbread, what is your favorite Spider-Man costume? Probably the 90s one. Thank you for bringing up my nerdy MK Twitter post. No problem, Cornbread. I'll do Zane Powers. Why can't people get over The Last Jedi already and keep calling him ruined? I don't know everyone's stupid Last Jedi thing. It's really annoying. Not a question, but remember it is Looney Tunes, just like Merry Melodies. It's all music, man. Thank you. Question, thoughts on Ted Cruz being horrible? I mean, Ted Cruz, we knew Ted Cruz sucked. I was like, is this a surprise? Who's your favorite serial killer from a fascination standpoint? Obviously, I don't like serial killers. I like some true crime stuff, but serial killers don't really fascinate me. I think when I was a kid, it was like Manson a lot, but not so much anymore. Bloxy, now that Doug Walker is going to play and review the Kingdom Hearts video games, are you excited for him to be the next big game reviewer? Honestly, I'd be fine if he was done with movies. That would be fine with me. Why did Nick not get his plushies flint? Oh, he didn't? Oh, now I feel bad. I'm sorry. I feel bad now. I thought he would definitely do that. That sucks. What are your thoughts on the fan-made Total Drama Union? I haven't even heard of that, so I have no thoughts. I'm going to pick a random one for someone who I didn't... Did I answer everybody? Is there, like, what's the last one? Let's do Suns. No. Oh, okay, we have two more and then we're done. Queen's Gambit is really good. Okay. What episode are you on with Harley Quinn? Also, who's your favorite character? They just made a crew. I'm not very far because I try to watch movies and stuff. But I do like Kite Man. I'm just meeting King Shark. So, yeah, me and show's not a good match, I guess. Anyway, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's all of it. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being as generous as you are. For people who gave super chats. The YouTube, I don't know what that is. Question, can this be the last one? Sure. All right. So yes, thank you very much for super chats during the show. Thank you all for supporting, watching, giving a thumbs up, all that stuff. It's very much appreciated. Check out the stuff from the Minari review. That's a really good movie, actually. Prince of Egypt, Willy's Wonderland, the Wandavision review. The Wandavision review for tonight will be out, obviously, tomorrow night, and all that jazz. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I hope you guys all have a good night. It's always fun doing this with you guys. You guys are always so nice to me, and I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. It's always a nice way to end a long week. So you all have, what if for the 100th episode we do 2 hours of questions? I might do a test one at some point. So anyway, I need to do that. But I think I got everybody. If I didn't get your question, go to the Ask Jim Discord or put the comment in the comments of this video. Oh, we are running long. Okay. Anyway, I will see you all next time, and subscribe if you would like to. Have a good night, everybody.